Really excited to have Leanne, from the Director of UX at Ecobee. A big round of applause for her, please.
Hello, everyone. Great to see so many faces out here, and love to see so many designers in one place. It's awesome. So thanks a lot, DesignX and Preet, for having me. I don't have a oh, there we go. I'm Leanne. I'm the Director of User Experience at Ecobee. How many people have heard of Ecobee? Oh, wow, that's a lot. I guess it must be because we're in Toronto. Ecobee is a smart home product company. We are most well known for smart thermostats, and we are coming out with a new smart light switch next month. So that's really exciting. My talk today is about the integration of a voice assistant into our product design for the Ecobee 4 smart thermostat, and some of the things that we learned along the way. So it's a bit of a case study, but it'll also talk about the opportunities of voice, and especially in the smart home, and some of the challenges we face as designers working with this new platform. Oh, geez, that's not working very well. We have seen several shifts in the way that people interact with technology in the past few decades. Let's keep going. Here we go. So from the first early computers and text and character input and punch cards to graphical user interfaces, the World Wide Web, and mobile and touch devices, we've seen a lot of shifts in the way that people interact with technology and computers. Right now, we find ourselves at the beginning of a new era, which is voice. And not too long ago, we might have said that this is like science fiction. We could talk to our technology. But in 2018, we're pretty much here. Technology is evolving at a rapid pace, and we're right at the cusp of this new era. And as product designers, we can see that technology, is adapting to us in this new way. So we've been traditionally relying on visual cues and the input methods of keyboards and mice and fingers as the tools for people to interact with our products. But now, this technology is starting to adapt to how we normally communicate with each other, which is a really great opportunity. There's no input device to learn and master, and really, in short, voice interfaces create a huge opportunity for designers who want to build easier-to-use products that can change the way that people perform everyday tasks. So imagine that you're hosting a dinner party. You have to think about a lot of things, right? What are you going to cook? You have to find some good recipes, get the ingredients, go shopping, set the mood in your house with lighting, the temperature, find some good music, and start cooking. So it's kind of a lot of things to deal with. And now imagine how useful a voice assistant could be in this situation. From ordering and having ingredients delivered in advance to reading out the recipe and setting timers for the cooking, music and lights and temperature all contribute to the mood for the gathering. For some of you, these use cases may already seem normal, but for the majority, we're still getting used to the way that voice is in the home. So there are early adopters as well who are jumping on the notion of voice and have already decked out their homes in a bunch of Amazon Echo devices in every room. And we were surprised, but when we did some in-home user research in California, we noticed that a lot of people are doing this. I was even talking to Dylan from Figma. He's got this going in his place as well. These are families that have set their houses up this way, and they have smart lights, they have a doorbell, they have smart locks, thermostat, and more, and they're all controlled by voice. So this technology has changed the way their lives, changed their lives for the better, and they claim that they would be lost without it. But why would we integrate voice into a thermostat? Seems a bit strange. I mean, I was definitely puzzled by the idea at first as well. But as we look closer at the concept of voice within the home, there are several benefits. First of all, obviously, hands-free control. When you've got both your hands busy, either cooking or doing something else, you can use voice, and it's really simple. It's also like the most natural way of communicating, so it's everyone knows how to speak. It's also helping for mobility or vision impaired users and those with cognitive impairments as well. However, although all of this is true, adoption is slower than we might expect. There are challenges, and voice interfaces still have a long way to go before their impact matches that of the mouse or the touchscreen. Standards and frameworks are emerging, however, and working in this space requires a different kind of creativity, one that combines empathy with a solid understanding of systems design. And I'll talk a little bit about this later, but this whole context-aware, multi-stage conversation is really what's needed, and I'll get into that a little bit later. This provides the user and the AI a shared understanding based on the previous requests and responses. So that's about speed and accuracy. It's a little bit slow right now, but we're getting better. Also, it just feels strange sometimes to talk to a device, especially in Canada, where it's still just starting to take off. Google Home and Amazon Alexa were just released in Canada in late 2017. So as Canadians, we're just sort of getting around to that idea, whereas it's been kind of quite popular in the US for a while. And of course, the elephant in the room, the privacy concerns. People have, quite a serious concern about inviting devices into their home that are always listening. People feel concerned about, the fact that there's a microphone, but it's really that the device is listening for a specific audio signature, the wake word, and then post wake word is listening for your command and sending it to the cloud. So there's more we could get into about that, but really people are nervous about it, so it's the reason why it's not taking off as quickly. Nevertheless, the province of, this is a good meme, in case you haven't seen it. People in the 60s said, I better not say that or the government will wiretap my house. People today say, hey, wiretap, do you have a recipe for pancakes? Yeah. Nevertheless, it's exciting. Voice in the home is exciting, the promise of that. Ecobee's vision of voice in the home is where far-field voice technology, that is, voice technology that you can talk to from a distance across the room, enables hands-free communication in each room, especially with the addition of a light switch. This means that if Alexa or another voice AI is built right into the objects that exist in your home, like thermostats or light switches, we could essentially integrate voice seamlessly into the home. So that means a fraction of the cost of buying echoes or dots for every room, and without all those wires and clutter. You could essentially walk into the house and with a simple voice command, adjust the lighting and the temperature and the music and more, depending on how many smart devices you have. So, what did Ecobee build? Oh boy, this is just not turning out well. It didn't look like this on my computer, Anyway, this is supposed to be a white slide. Yeah. Anyway, building Alexa directly into the device with our Ecobee 4 product. We fit a full Echo Dot directly into the device. So with this, you need to preserve the important characteristics of the Echo or the Dot, such as a microphone, speakers, the light ring or light pipe, volume control, a mute or privacy button, and a visual indicator to keep consistent experience with what people are used to. This can be challenging at small sizes. And we have also built a custom Ecobee skill or action. Skill is for Amazon, and Google Assistant uses actions. And we were able to expand those two platforms to control our devices through a Google Home or Amazon Alexa device. So I'll talk a little bit about that after, but basically the next part is about the product challenges. So Amazon Alexa was built into the thermostat. Does everyone understand what that means? It means it's inside. That means you can talk to your thermostat. It was very hard to get this across to customers, even user tests. Like we did a ton of user testing before the packaging, before the advertising. We had a hard time, especially because a lot of the users that we tested with were from Canada. And in Canada, we didn't have Amazon Alexa as soon as it was released in the US. So helping people just understand what it was and why they needed it and connecting to actual Amazon account, it was a little bit confusing for people. It was a little bit hard. It's a bit of a stretch, a leap. So also the connecting to the Amazon account, we wanted it to be painless and simple and easy. So what we ended up doing was leveraging our mobile app to connect via one screen to the Amazon account And then it was quickly connected, and the device was using your Amazon account. So, oh man, white slides, I swear it was white. Yeah, so the Echo devices, the Exis and Echo Dot, has a set of rules, and LED rules that show different patterns and colors depending on the interactions with it. This is especially important for privacy mode, which is where the Echo devices show a red ring as opposed to the blue ring that is displayed when Alexa is listening. So relying just on verbal communication was not enough. The device that we were building had to show visual indicators when listening or thinking about an answer. So one big challenge early on was deciding whether we were going to actually include an LED light pipe or use the screen that we already had to convey that response. So we did a lot of user testing, and changing the design was very risky. It was very expensive, but we user tested so many times, and we just kept coming back to the same thing. Users wanted something different. They wanted the vibrancy of the LED was a big factor, but also that it was separate from the controls of the thermostat. They like to have a separate area where the voice experience was shown to them. So full takeover of the screen, such as Siri is doing on your phone, was also an option, but it would have interfered with the thermostat features on the home screen as well. So we made the decision to focus on the primary functions of the thermostat on the screen, rather than Alexa's functionality. So enabling people to turn off the microphone for privacy was really important as well, obviously being transparent about that. So we ended up with a challenge around the red light pipe. This was early on, right after launch. A lot of users complained that they didn't like this consistent red LED for privacy mode. It was really jarring. Even though the indication worked for Echo devices, it wasn't great on a user's wall. It's a different story. The light reflected off the wall, felt like an error state. Some users thought that there was something actually wrong with the thermostat. So for this reason, we ended up changing the pattern while keeping the same color and using the idle screen with a little red microphone crossed out to indicate privacy mode. And we turned off the LED after 5 minutes. Also the missing context. As I mentioned, we're located in Toronto, just down the street. Context was missing for some of the people that we user tested with. It was difficult to find people who had prior knowledge of Amazon Alexa, and even if they did, they were really convinced that they needed some kind of Echo device for this thing to actually work. So this past November, as I said, Alexa was released in Canada, and so was the Ecobee 4. And funny enough, this meant that Alexa had a whole new personality. She had a new voice, she had metric units and other Canadian nuances. And it was funny for those of us who had been using the Alexa devices before that, because her whole personality changed. It was very weird. It was like you had to get to know somebody different. Another technical issue we faced, another white slide, was when we had many Echoes or Alexa devices responding at the same time. If people had an Alexa in their house as well as the thermostat, they asked a command, sometimes they would have multiple devices responding. So we worked really closely with Amazon on a solution called ESP, or Echo Spatial Perception. So this solution uses the signal-to-noise ratio of the voice at each Alexa device and determines which one is closest to you to respond. So over-the-air firmware updates have fixed this for all of our customers, which is a huge relief. One other consideration that's coming up right now is just we're noticing that traditional retailers have a pretty strong aversion to anything connected with Amazon. Amazon is their biggest competitor, and selling products that profit their biggest competitor makes less sense. So now we're currently investigating the potential of adding a second voice AI into the next generation product so that users could choose which platform they want to use and which one they're more comfortable with. So not only did we build Alexa into the device, we also built a custom still. And this is where the real design for voice comes in. And we have to really understand that by breaking down speech into three parts. Utterances, which is what people say. Intents, which is what they mean and what they want to happen. And actions, which is what happens as a result. So this seems pretty straightforward to us, but speaking is natural for humans. It's not so natural for machines. And the first rule about designing for conversations, or for voice, is that there are no errors in conversation. People speak differently in a variety of conditions. They may have accents, they may cough, they may have an impairment, they may speak from far away, there may be background noise. There's so many different factors that can influence how the device hears your voice. So unlike a visual user interface, the boundaries aren't quite as clear. So there's no buttons to tap, and users speak with intent, but sometimes they don't give you all the information that you need to execute the command. So what do you do then? This is where this sort of back and forth, context-aware, multi-stage conversation comes in. And then I mentioned earlier. The voice AI first tries to capture the intent and then follows up with multiple questions to confirm. So multiple turns in the conversation to get all the information that it needs to execute on the action. And during these turns, we really kept it in mind and wanted to make it really important that don't force the user to repeat information they've already given you. Just ask for the missing information. Also, when performing the action, it's really important to reinforce it in the user's mind what the AI is actually going to do. So, okay, setting the temperature to 20. So what are the many various ways that people can express, I want to change the temperature? Turn up the heat, I'm cold, increase the temperature by 3 degrees. People speak in so many different ways, and different user personas come in. So a more tech-savvy person might say, Alexa, turn up my heat by 3 degrees, whereas someone more conversational might say, Alexa, I'm cold. So it really helps to talk to as many users as possible from as many different demographics as possible and backgrounds. Someone British might say aircon, someone from who has a traditional boiler might call their heat a boiler. Today, we support over 100 different phrases for increasing or decreasing the temperature. And because people ask questions differently, they may want the voice AI to respond differently as well. This is the fun part. It's the opportunity to make the interactions more natural and to even be playful. Like this, Alexa, is it hot today? Not even close. You want to get the technology to do the job, but also to be pleasant and playful. And this is where it's fun. What does the Ecobee persona sound like? How does the Ecobee brand get conveyed through voice? Our tone is friendly, concise, and purposeful. So what's next for us? What would you want your Ecobee to do? Or what would you want it to have it do for you? We're really thinking about energy savings and how can we be servicing our customers more in that way. So what about notifications like, over the past month, you've used 10% more energy than you did last month? Or, hi user, electricity is now at a peak period. Would you like Ecobee to auto-adjust your cooling to save you money? These are just some of the ways in which we could leverage the voice to provide additional context on the status of the home, and we'll be constantly learning and improving from here.
Thanks so much.